Give me 3 seconds there. So thank you so much, Maayong buntag sa tanan, to Honorable Ana Marie Melanie Trinidad, our LEB chairperson, and our partner and fellow Mindanaoan, Commissioner Josefes Sorera T. Thank you so much for inviting us here. Now, just to lay the context, XU Law, like many of us, here, we just started our externship program this year. So previously, XU Law does not require any externship. It's only because of the student practice rule that we've developed and deployed this first externship program. And this program is housed within our law clinic, the SUCLA, or the Xavier University Center for Legal Assistance, in one of its other programs. So you have to also take note that we started deploying our students last month, actually, February 2022, after almost a year of delay due to the various surges. No? And but I think the value that we want to add in this discussion is the process in setting up this program and the birth pains and the other learnings that comes with it. No? So for the next couple of minutes, I would like to share the startup process of the externship program that we can hopefully learn from. So let's begin with first, sino ba ang covered here? So the team, actually the CLEP team is just composed of 3 teachers. Our Dean Joe Sabio, Father IJ, and myself. And then we agreed that the externship is gonna be a requirement only for a portion of the CLEP students. So yung required na mag-externship are only certified student practitioners enrolled in the CLEP and those who are first year last year. So currently, we have around 200 plus students required to undergo CLEP because they will graduate in 2023, but only 39 are required to do the CLEP plus the externship component. So in a way, we're managing a smaller amount of students, 39 students only. So here is the startup process. As I said, no, this stretch from a year, and we will go through them one by one. So as early as January 2021, we have started reaching out to our potential partners. So that's the first part, the partner scanning. And at the onset, I want to say that the course, the course on externship given by Vermont Law School was very, very helpful. They emphasized that the partner scanning should start with your own network, with your own friends. And that's what we exactly did. That's what we started out. We tapped our alumni network in the schools. We also contacted personal friends who are already heading offices in the region. And literally, it started out with sending PMs in Facebook, texts, and we have our GC in our batch. In our batch at law school, we have our own GC. A lot of them already heading some offices, government agencies, and I just blasted them a message if they want to get in, if they're interested in getting interns, and then I also emphasized that this is voluntary. So we got some responses, and then I think that's where the conversation started. And the kind of tone I always use in reaching out to them is, would they be willing to be part of the legal education process of future lawyers? Do they want to pay it forward? So yan yung parang buy-in ko, and some were interested. And I will share to you the list of partners later on. Then the next is, of course, the formalization, the inking of partnerships. And what is interesting here is that not all, in our experience, not all institutions require a MOA. So our default here was sending out the formal letters. So the head of office would just sign it and assign it to another a lawyer in their office. And if they would require a MOA, we have a template MOA for that. So in our experience, only 2 institutions required a MOA. And what is the added value here? What's the learning that we got here? From the Vermont course, we got the idea na yung MOA should include an externship plan provision, which serves as a sort of annex to the MOA that can be modified without the need to amend the MOA itself. So later on, I'll be again flashing the 10 partners. Then after the finalizing the list of partners, we then opened a student portal. Actually, it's just a Google form where students are required to choose their top 4 preferred placements. But we place a disclaimer here that it's not necessary na they will be assigned sa kanilang most preferred placement, because it also depends on the demand and the absorptive capacity of the institutions. So after the registration, so only 39 students, we then organize the orientation. We have to highlight what are the deliverables, the expectations, and also I will discuss those things later on in detail. And then the next, so una muna yung student orientation, then we proceeded to the partner orientation. So the partner orientation, we the same thing, we leveled off our expectation in a more formal setting without outside the text or personal messages. We emphasize the deliverables, the goals, the outcomes that the students are expected to accomplish. We also ask them to contact, ito yung importante. We ask the institutional partners that they themselves will contact the assigned externs so that they could negotiate on their own office-specific orientation. So, in short, the program kami sa XULO, we did not organize office-specific orientations. We delegated that to the partner institution. So sila na ang mag-set up ng kanilang orientation. So hands-off na kami sa office-specific orientation, right? We just provided the partner institutions with a time period where they should conduct their orientation. And then after that's done, then we have the actual deployment. And then we have monthly externship huddles. We haven't organized one yet since we're in midterms now, no? But this March we'll organize at the end of March yung first namin na updating. And then finally the evaluation. So these are our partners. All of them, because we have, I think, contacts or alumni in them. The Commission on Human Rights Region 10, specifically on their gender desk. And then we have assignments in the courts in both the MTC and the RTC. We actually contacted our own faculty members who are sitting judges. We have the Department of Education in their legal office, regional legal office, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources in their legal office as well. Also the city government in the legal office. We're also very happy that the city prosecutor absorbed a lot of externs. I think they have parang 14 assignments with the DOJ, and the city prosecutor personally assigned them to the associate prosecutors. The integrated bar is also very, very helpful. They have a legal aid committee. They also absorb around more than 10 students. And then this logo here is the Balaod Mindanao. It's a legal NGO. You might know them sa kanilang famous Sumilaw March, Sumilaw case. So they were the ones who headed that, and we have assigned interns there right now. They are focusing now on anti-human trafficking campaign. We have assignments also in the Department of Agrarian Reform, and then the Samdana Institute. It's more of a focus on land law, indigenous people's law. Yan. So this is the example of the portal. It's just really a Google form where students are requested to input their preferences. So in short, it's really the law school. In short, the law school is the one who made the arrangements. Kami na ang nag-assign sa kanila. We gave the names to the institutions. It's not the students who will go to the institution. So it's us directly communicating to the partners. Yan, this is an example lang of our orientation. And then this is also another important point we got from the Vermont course. No? We were inspired by the overarching goals that they provided, and that's what we also adopted, that the externship program has 3 Ds, which is to develop practical knowledge, skills, and values, the delivery of legal services and the promotion of access to justice, social justice. And then the third D is the deepening of value. So this is the slide that we showed both our partners and our students. And then for the learning outcomes, we emphasize that the students should be able to reflect, plan, implement their own model of professional growth. And then we emphasize the term mentorship. So when we had our partnership orientation with the institutions, we always mention the word mentorship because this is the added value that the students will get outside the classroom. There's no mentorship relationship in the classroom. They get that in the externship. So we emphasize that if pwede, they would develop this kind of relationship. Cultivate their professionalism and ability to meet obligations, honor commitments, so more of professional development, develop positive professional relationship, engage with practice, community, and build professional networks and their professional identity as well. And then lastly, build their knowledge of the law and the legal system, right? Because again, I think the whole point of the externship program is laying context, no, in their legal education. They learn things in the classroom, the hard text of the law, but I think their appreciation will be more. It gets deeper if they see it in actual operation in the real world. So that's what we keep on asking our partners, expose them to the real practice. And we also ask, these are our asks sa aming mga partner institutions, only 4 things. We want them to provide well-defined tasks. So we emphasize well-defined because we don't want to overwhelm the students with very general and vague tasks. We want them to also develop their professional responsibility through the observation in the workplace, provide students with insights in the workings of the legal system, and to develop the students' ability to learn from experience. And our externship program is only for 120 hours. Right? I think that's manageable enough. And because of the pandemic, now, generally, we're still based online. We don't have face-to-face yet in XULO. And our mode is output-based on any of the combination of following activities. So ito yung nakikita natin sa certification level 1 activities. So how does this look like in an actual task list? So this is an example of it. No? It's really the discretion of the supervising lawyer how much time they will provide or how much equivalent hours they will provide each task. No? Since we assume na it's gonna be output based, parang if they just accomplish this particular activity, you could already assume that it's 5 hours, 40 hours. So we're not really strict in terms of the counting of hours, at least for the first batch of externs. So our style is they have 1 sem to do this. They can accomplish the 120 hours until May 7th. And then the externs can finish them earlier if they already accomplished the task list. And what to accomplish? So ito yung mga hard mga tasks ng partners natin and the student. So for the student, they are only required to submit 3 things, no? All of them online. Summary report, a reflection paper, and then the certificate of completion. So on the part of the partner institutions, we want them na hindi masyadong maraming administrative matters. So we just ask 2 things from them. They will accomplish the evaluation form per extern, and then they will provide the certificate of completion. Of course, the school will provide the template, no, but we ask na sila na mag-print, and of course, the supervising lawyer on their end will sign it. And then the externs will be evaluated in 6 areas. And again, this is inspired from the Vermont externship course. So talagang I want to emphasize how useful that course was. So we want to evaluate our students in legal writing, in oral communication, ability to orally communicate legal ideas and concepts clearly, responsibility in meeting deadlines and other professional responsibilities, ability to seek and use supervision effectively, no? And how they would incorporate feedback from our supervising lawyers, professional responsibility and ethics, and then lastly, research and analytical skills. So this is the draft evaluation form. So ang plan namin is everything's going to be online. So we'll make this into a Google form and submit the link to the supervising lawyers in the various institutions. So they have to accomplish this together with the certificate of completion. Now, ano ba yung mga lessons learned? So I'm almost done. A very short presentation. As what we've learned from Vermont, no, we start with our own network. It helps if we start with people that we are familiar with and people that we trust. People that will not say no if we ask something from them. So this is something I think we could all use. Second is being in the first cohort of the Alpha Batch, make it easier for the partner institution by not burdening them with so many administrative work. So that's why, at least for the first year, we did not require the partner institutions to provide a specific lesson plan. We only required them to accomplish the evaluation form and the certificate of completion. So maybe in the next year, we might be moving up a little bit by actually requiring them to specify or make together with the students a learning plan. That's what we also learned from the Vermont course. That's the higher level kind of externship na meron talagang co-ownership ang student and the supervising lawyer. And then the third one is provide an externship hotline. So merong concerns. Perhaps maybe some assignment might be too difficult. So we have to open that line for the students and for the supervising lawyers to have direct access to me as the coordinator. And I think this is very important. Provide space for reflection sharing. At the end of the SEM, XU Law will organize what we call the Law Service Learning Summit, where we will have a sort of reporting of all the CLEP-related activities of the year, from the CLEP outputs in the CLEP courses like the rights literacy, the community projects, and the externship experience. So that's also where our plan is to have everybody there, everyone in the law school there. That's our hope, no, na the CLEP program is not just a program, but a culture-changing agent in the law school. So looking forward, okay, develop specific tracks. So this means that our adults may be now track specific with specific skill sets. Maybe in the next year we want to have specific judiciary, administrative, human rights, NGO externship track. So maybe in our meetings we have speakers that will be more specific on those areas. We have to also strengthen our relationship with the supervising lawyers, because they are really the important key component in the program. We are looking at this relationship in the long term, no? Not only in terms of them providing externship experience, but perhaps we're looking at the start of a classroom to workplace program because of the externship experience. We also want to move it to summer. So currently we are conducting it this SEM. Our semester ends around May. So we want to move that siguro in the next batch summer para focus lang talaga sa externship. And then more spaces for reflection sharing, because we do ultimately believe that learning happens when students are given the space to deepen and reflect on their experiences. So this is pretty much our externship experience. Again, para siyang startup company. We're still managing the first batch. So I think everybody can relate na it's a struggle, but we're glad that we're able to move it and hopefully improve in the next years. So thank you so much for your time, and maayong buntag sa tanong.